JavaScript, right? What are some things we've learned about JavaScript? I've forgotten. That's cool, I guess. So what are some things, right? We've learned what's a JavaScript library that we've learned? jQuery. Yep. What are some tools and useful tools that we've used on top of that?
JSON?
Yeah, like how do we get that JSON? By using what? Yeah, Ajax. Cool. Yeah, JavaScript libraries are great. They abstract a lot of the code from us. They allow us to write code faster and quicker. It's easier to write. It's more semantic almost. But the problem with JavaScript libraries is that once you keep building upon your application, you build it and you build it and you build it, you keep adding to it, and all of a sudden your code has no structure. It has no frame of reference. It's just kind of sitting there and it's all soupy. So today we're going to introduce what's called a front-end framework. All right. Just at a high level, who can tell me the difference between like libraries versus frameworks? Can anyone tell me the difference between libraries versus frameworks? Adrian, let's start with you. And I even have this like handy dandy little lesson plan here. Libraries versus frameworks. But yeah, you can just say it in English. What does that mean to you?
I'm guessing one of them is just maybe like libraries, just like a collection of commands and stuff that might sum up things up.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, libraries just give us an abstraction of code that allows us to write code faster and quicker. It says here, libraries gives us a tool to utilize. Abstracts code, lets it write code more succinctly, and allows us to write our applications faster. But how's that different from a framework, Allison?
Well, frameworks have more structure.
Yeah? What do you mean by structure?
Um,
Like, is Rails a library or is Rails a framework?
a framework.
So why is it a framework and why is it not a library?
I think that there's like a convention that
Yeah.
you're able to access using the framework and
Yep.
build similar functions.
Yeah, so frameworks are such that like they give you a whole bunch of rules, and then if you follow them, life is good, and if you don't follow them, life is not good, right? So libraries are just tools that allow you to write code faster. Frameworks actually help you guide the way you write your code as well. It gives you structure to your code. Cool. So what is a front-end framework? What do you guys think a front-end framework is? Let me scroll up. You guys don't cheat.
Backbone.
What's that?
Backbone.
Backbone? Yeah, Backbone's a front-end framework. Awesome. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. Hopefully something nice that doesn't make me want to cry.
Why? What are some things that make you cry right now about JavaScript?
By just looking at it, I don't get anything. Like I can't even understand like a single word in there.
So you said you can't understand a single word in there. What does that mean?
It means that I
You don't
look
know,
at it-
and I also want to highlight something else you said. Is you didn't know where to look for things, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you
So-
think a front-end framework might solve that? Might provide a solution for that?
I hope so.
Maybe. Who knows?
Shall
We'll
see.
see in the next couple days, right? What else can front-end frameworks provide us? Isa?
Well, I'm just gonna kind of go on that. JavaScript is it's a little messier than I guess Ruby is because
Right.
like a lot of these little
Yeah.
variables that are the entire document is stuff like all over interaction.
Yeah, so Isa said JavaScript's a little bit messier. And I think there's some truth to that, but I think there's also ways we can amend that situation, right? And that's what front-end frameworks are for. Well, I'll just show you guys here, and these are all in the notes that I just posted. So a library, a front-end framework is basically a library that attempts to take all that logic, wrap it in a nice little place, and move it into separate concerns, right? Provides a simple interface for keeping the front end in sync with the back end. So currently we have a great skill set for Rails. We know RESTful routes and all that. We can do page refreshes and all the things load up. We can do CRUD functionality. But with a front-end framework, we can also do these similar things, but we can load it all on the client side. And then the only thing that you have left to do is make your browser-based calls to the Ajax, and you only have to sync up with your backend when the user does something. All right, and that's kind of the purpose and the ideal situation for a front-end framework. Awesome.
So that's what we were doing with the JavaScript models, doing the MVC
Yeah.
library. So this is just rules that make that.
So OOJS is basically what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
We're getting all of our front-end code in object-oriented JavaScript so we can make back-end calls just through the client, right? We didn't have to do a page refresh, right? We could just click some button and it made some back-end call. It either created a model or an object of the model, or it got information from that model or something like that, right? But all of the code was loaded in, and we learned object-oriented JavaScript. Backbone is really just a layer on top of it. You guys will see a lot of similarities to what we did with the Trello app onto like this backbone structure. It's going to look very similar. Cool. Yeah. So I guess the biggest highlight that I want to have again here is that really all you need is this second bullet. Applications can run completely in a browser. It minimizes server load, obviously, because we no longer have to make requests every time we want to change pages. Right? The only time we need to ping the backend is when we need to synchronize our front end with our backend. I.e., when we delete a model in our front end, we want to delete it on our backend. Right? Cool. So what is Backbone? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go to this website. I'll go ahead and link it. It's backbonejs.org. This is the Backbone documentation. And for the next 10 minutes, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to read from getting started all the way down to, let's see, what did I say? What did I say in the notes? That's a better indicator. And what happened to getting started to backbone.model. You don't have to read backbone.model, just everything up until backbone.model. So go ahead and take 10 minutes to do that. And let me pause the screencast. How do I pause the screencast?